question really comes down to how can you increase productivity growth, because that's going to raise the quality of jobs, raise people's productivity, and also how we'll lift them out of poverty, and will in effect, of course, encourage the growth of jobs, because it's going to encourage more people in the labour force if they can get a better wage when they're actually working in the labour force. So that's how I kind of frame the problem. And of course, the question is easy to say that. How do you do it? And there's lots of different policies around which could potentially do that. So one sort of policies is around small and medium-sized enterprises, and many people say, well, these are the kind of firms that we should focus on, the kind of growing gazelles, the entrepreneurs, and that is important. Most firms are small firms, and a lot of innovation comes from entrepreneurs. If you think about policies towards that, I would think about policies which tries to, if you like, horizontally create the conditions, create the environment for those firms to grow and flourish. So the critical thing there is, I think, removing barriers for firms to start up, barriers to entry for new firms to enter that particular industry. So all the World Bank's work in terms of measuring how difficult it is to start up a new business, or the business environment, absolutely critical to helping those new firms start up. Finance is an important part of that as well. If you want to start up a new firm, you've got to get money from somewhere. So access to finance, startup capital, venture capital, that's all really important. But my personal view is that may have been overemphasized, because if you actually look at the overall productivity in the economy, a lot of the high productivity actually comes from larger firms. They actually, although they're a relatively small number of companies, and they employ relatively larger numbers of people, but they fundamentally produce a lot more of the outputs and make a much bigger contribution to productivity. So the way I would think about things is fundamentally, how can you obviously encourage innovation, technology, better management, but how can you enable those small firms which you've started up to grow to be the larger, more productive firms which are going to offer the high quality jobs, the better conditions that we want people to have.